Anyways, we have another episode of Dr. T's podcast. We have a very special guest today. We have head coach Tara Scimeca, who is going to be telling us about her weight loss journey using the NutriMost program. Welcome, Tara.
Thank you.
So Tara, maybe you can just tell us how you came across Dr. T, how you got involved in the program, and how you came to work for him, basically.
Sure. So for many years, Dr. Tafuri and his wife, Karen, were personal friends of mine through a business venture that we were doing together, which was, we did nutritional products, and it was kind of like an MLM company. I had been receiving chiropractic care from Dr. Tafuri during, I would say, in his actually lived in was working in my town, and it was convenient for me. So he became my chiropractor. I became pregnant with my son. And during that time, I had been bedridden during my pregnancy. So after my pregnancy, I wound up putting on a lot of weight, and my health was affected. I was having difficulty getting out of bed in the morning, just functioning as myself. I felt very like I was going through the motions of going through my day just to be a mom and tackle the tasks of being a mom, but I really lost who I was. I was struggling with my weight terribly. I was literally running 6 days a week, about anywhere between 4 to 7 miles a day for about 9 months. I lost 1 whole pound. My husband would look at me and be like, how are you not losing weight? Every day you run and run and run. You come back, you're sweating. Like, I don't understand. He's like, I've never seen anyone work so hard with such little results. I'm like, I don't know. One day I went into Dr. Tafuri's office to get adjusted, and he goes, what are you doing this weekend? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, you want to come listen to a seminar with me on a program that's been life-changing to me and my wife? And I'm like, I don't know. Went home, mentioned it to my husband, and he was like, do it. He's like, what do you have to lose? He's like, go listen. He's like, perfect time. I'm like, okay. Went away, listened to story after story after story of people telling us their success stories on how they lost 20 to 40 pounds in 40 days. And I was like, yeah, this is too good to be true. Came home, thought about it. I was like, I said to my husband, he goes, how was the weekend? I'm like, it was great. I'm like, but it's like too good to be true. He's like, well, do it. What do you have to lose? So I did the program, and actually we didn't even have the program in our office at the time. I had to do it in another location in Brooklyn. And when I did the program, in 40 days, I lost 25 pounds. I went from a size 10, a tight 10, 12 female size to a 4 in literally 40 days. And my husband said, you didn't complain not one day doing this entire program. He's like, you look amazing. You feel amazing. He's like, you got to do this. I think my biggest takeaway from this was on the 5th day of doing the program, I literally woke up without my alarm clock, and I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh my God, that brain fog that I was having totally lifted. And I literally felt clear in my head, which was something that I hadn't felt for a lot of years. I always had this kind of like cloudy feeling in my when I would wake up in the morning, and it literally went away. That alone was so life-changing to me. And then to have lost the weight, which to me was such a side benefit of the whole entire program, because I got my energy back, I got my life back, I felt better, I was happier, I was motivated, and I couldn't believe that the weight was like how fast it just melted off of me. After going through the rest of the program, I learned things that I was absolutely doing wrong with my lifestyle, my eating habits, things I had thought were healthy for me were not. And I literally destroyed my metabolism, and how to relearn how to just live and eat and function. And it has become my lifestyle. It's become my family's lifestyle. And it's something that I cherish very much. I decided that this was something that I wanted to do with Dr. Tafuri, and we've helped thousands of patients literally transform their health and the state of their health with this program. And it's something that I feel like everyone can use, because we're all beaten up by what we eat and what's in our foods and stress and life in general. And it just really helps clean your body from the inside out, with a side benefit of weight loss. Like, who doesn't want that?
So, sorry.
That's okay. I was gonna say, that's basically my story.
There you go. Now, it sounds extremely encouraging. So what was, without giving away the secret sauce, what was the big difference between the before and after, where you were completely stagnant, had hit the wall? And I know you said you changed your diet, but what really, how did that process go for you? What was the day in the life like before versus after?
Well, one, I wasn't eating enough. And two, I wasn't even eating the right combination or the right types of foods. What I thought was healthy. You know, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and we ate everything that was processed in a box and had aspartame in it. So I thought, and had no fat in it. Everything I ate was low fat and, you know, was a diet food. And it literally just destroyed my metabolism. And in return, I had thyroid issues. I had gut issues. I had, you know, I mean, I was literally having, you know, so many side effects. My hair was falling out, my skin was dry, I was having hives, you know, plus I had gained so much weight that I just could not get off, no matter how hard I worked to get it off. Even, I mean, I wouldn't even lose 5 pounds. I couldn't lose anything. And I mean, I've been a health professional since, you know, I'm 1998. Like, I knew what to do. I was doing it, and my body was just not cooperating.
Fascinating. So just for the audience, for some context, a lot of those products during the 80s and 90s, what they did was they removed fat, and in lieu of that, they substituted sugar to offset the loss of flavor. So you had a zero fat product, and that,
Or
that was
artificial
loaded,
sweeteners too.
right?
You know?
Artificial sweeteners, sugar, very devastating to your body. And I'm sure Dr. T can talk more about the effects of sugars on your body. And also another point too, we had an entire podcast about gut health. And even that wasn't enough time to really talk about that topic too. Very loaded topics. I don't know, Doc, what's your take on that?
Well, you know, I think here's the problem once again. We've been told so many different things, you know, it's good. I mean, think about this. For years, margarine was touted as the best treatment to prevent heart disease. And what we found out in the long run, it was the worst thing that could possibly be consumed, because those trans fats, those hydrogenated fats, did more harm than good for so many different people, and actually increased the incidence of cardiovascular disease. You know, I've heard, and, you know, and I don't know if this is gospel, as they would say, but, you know, there was a very controversial thing that came back in the day that had a lot to do with the production of various sugar products, and they've kind of villainized fat, and they blamed everything on fat, and they substituted the healthy fats, the olive oil, you know, the real butter, you know, the nuts that produce the healthy fats, and a multitude of other things, to be then substituted with corn oil and, you know, vegetable oil and, you know, these trans fat substances. You know, the bottom line is, if you take a plant and you squeeze it and it gets liquid, it has to be converted to a fat substance by a process called hydrogenation, which is a chemical process onto itself, and it creates a lot of unknown and harmful side effects. Well, this became the magnitude of what people were eating for so many different years. And then all these different problems started stemming up. We saw more incidents of heart disease. We saw people with higher levels of cholesterol. And so the link really came down to, it wasn't the fat, the healthy fats that were causing the problem. It was the trans fats. And then on top of that, the high consumption of refined carbohydrates. And that was a big thing. And also, as Tara alluded to before, was the use of different type of synthetic chemicalized substances, which were sugar substitutes, the aspartame, the, you know, cyclamates, even back in the 60s, you know, the soda like Tab and things of that nature. And there have been so many very detrimental health issues associated with that. So as they eliminated them, but they were out in the environment for such a long period of time, they did a lot of harmful things to people. And, you know, that's one of the things that we still see today also, you know, and so look, the bottom line is this: the food industry is a big, unique corporate structure, and much money is made by touting, different fads in food environments, but many of those things have come back to be a very harmful effect of us. So yeah, healthy lifestyles, real food, something that's not loaded with tons of preservatives, dyes like red dye #2. Look at all the different things that came from that, cancerous things, and the caramelization factor even associated with Coca-Cola, which onto itself is obviously a problem. But the difference between high fructose corn syrup and real sugar cane, cane sugar and things of that nature, all the detrimental things that have come from that too, and all the politics associated with the high production of these things and how it inundated our food, and it was in everything, and it just kept creating a massive issue associated with weight gain in the population. So the thing that people thought that they were going to get fat from eating fat was eliminated from their diet, and they started eating more refined carbohydrates or fat sugar substitutes, and they got heavier and heavier and heavier. And all the preservatives and all the different sugar substitutes, and even the sugar and the high, what they call glycemic index, being sugar component of their food, has such a significant detrimental effect that year after year, ongoing for about a 30-year period of time, the realization finally came to us that, wait, we've been looking at this the wrong way. Even from the standpoint of exercise, we know too that there are 3 hormones that keep fat on our body: estrogen, insulin, which is linked directly to your blood sugar consumption, dietary issues, and also cortisol. And cortisol is a stress hormone. And when that cortisol level goes up, the body holds on to fat because your body's basically in a panic fight or flight mode. So think of it this way. Imagine you were outside and you're in the dark and you hear something coming up behind you. You start to get those little spidey sense, as they say. Your hearing becomes very acute. Your sight starts to change. You get those little, goosebumps on your hand, and you're literally in that fight or flight mode. It's like, something's going to get me. I better get out of here. And you find this miraculous strength all of a sudden to get the heck out of that spot, if you're lucky. Well, that's an adrenaline surge. And that adrenaline surge is something that's necessary for our bodies to sustain ourselves, in the world we live in. But there's another hormonal substance called cortisol, which also elevates too. So as the adrenaline levels go down, because if we just kept pumping out tons of adrenaline, we would die, have a stroke or a heart attack. That would be the end of it. But what seems to happen is that the body goes from, that alarm phase to resistance phase to the exhaustion phase, still putting out high levels of cortisol. And this is another big factor associated, once again, with people having a great problem in losing weight. But most of it, once again, not only from emotional stress, and God, we're living in a time, I don't know that I can think of in my lifetime that I've seen such a horrific effect that it's had on the mass population with the aspect of COVID, the economy, politics, things of that nature, people not having money, and not losing their jobs, losing their homes. It's just a horrible thing. So I think a lot of people are just walking around in such a state of fear right now. And that kind of perpetuates things. So what we're advocating is the idea of taking some responsibility and helping yourself and doing it in a kind of holistic approach with the right guidance, knowing how to get from point A to point B and making a change that will help you from the inside out. And remember, all healing comes from within. So the fact that what we're talking about is making a significant lifestyle change. And that's what the NutriMost protocol is. That was the genius behind this, Dr. Ray Wisniewski, that came up with this idea and how it expanded and grown. And even the work that Tara and I have done over the last 6 years, we've taken that program, which was fantastic. And we've also been able to improve upon it as everything comes about. We've seen other things that could add to it and improving the lifestyle of the people that have utilized our program, and then teaching them how to sustain those effects for longer periods of time. And remember, there's no 100% of anything. We have had patients who've had incredible results on our program. I would say the rate of success is huge. And then some of them fall back because they got away from the basic tenets of eating healthfully, drinking pure water, eating foods that are well balanced in all the aspect of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, the right ones, not things overloaded, and not having to live on a diet for the rest of your life, but by making a healthy choice in what goes into your body on a day-to-day basis, and knowing also that you could vary from it and not gain a significant amount of weight if you just don't go down the rabbit hole, if you don't get stuck. Like, many of our patients, after they've done the program, they enjoy, alcoholic beverages, they enjoy refined cakes and cookies and things of that nature, pizza, pasta, so on and so forth, but they don't inundate themselves with this steady, constant inflow of these foods, which are not the healthiest for us all the time, but sure do taste pretty good.
Of course.
Can I just say one thing, Doc, that you touched upon? Everybody always comes in and says, well, how am I going to keep the weight off? And I said, you have to be willing to change the lifestyle, because what
Right.
you're doing now is not working for you. Like, that is something, I mean, how many times we've had that conversation with someone, well, am I going to go back to eating the way I said, but why would you go back? Like, going back is going to put you right where you are right now, and you don't like being where you are.
Right. And the other thing is that the significant changes that occur, not only to their weight, but the amount of inflammation in their joints, in their body, in their stomach, the gut balance, how to get their body back to a healthy state, the issue associated with a condition, the medical term is called metabolic endotoxemia. We call it leaky gut. And we did a podcast, if you remember, Greg, that was really out there, and people can get the link to that as well, because there's so much to be said about it. And even in that short period of time, we couldn't say anything, but it's a good basis of what we're talking about, putting this all together to become a healthier person. And remember,
and I had that. I had leaky gut.
yeah,
I had SIBO. I've had it all.
And it all came about because of things that happened progressively over a period of time. It just didn't happen overnight. It happened over a long time of not doing things that you were supposed to really do, but not knowing. That's the problem. So many people have been doing the wrong things, not because they're stupid. It's just because they just didn't know the right things to do. And once they got the opportunity to learn a healthier way of living, they were so much healthier on so many different levels, emotionally, physically, chemically, structurally. It's incredible. And we've made this a passion because we love helping people get to that next step. But, we can't reach out to you. You have to reach out to us. And that's a critical factor. And we're here to help. But, once again, too, not enough has been out there talking about this, that something really does wait for the vast majority of people that, engage into this kind of protocol.
So, as part of the program, you do the body composition analysis. We have a whole video on how that works. We'll have a link to that. So that said, Tara, if you could tell us, what was your analysis like before and after, if you recall?
Well, I know after I was like 13 on my metabolic age, which I thought was cool.
Tara, most people don't know. Why don't you tell them what that means? Because, that's a critical factor. That's a wow factor if you look at it.
So my body age when I started was like I think if I remember correctly, it was either in the 50s or 60s. And I was like,
right.
what?
But how old were you chronologically?
Yeah. So, I mean, now the fact that when you do the program and you literally decrease the age at which your body's functioning at, which is like absolutely amazing.
Right. And you boost your metabolism. That's what it comes down to. That's how we reverse the process.
One thing we haven't touched
old were you? How old were you when we first did the program, Tara?
36, 37. No, wait. I'm sorry. Maybe 38, 39. I don't even remember.
Yeah, I know. It's like touch hike.
But I am going to say one of my biggest takeaways is this program gives you control. And that's something I never had before, was control. Like, even if you start to slip, you can get it back, but you have to work the program. It's, knowing when to dial it back and knowing when to put the reins on and say, okay, I need to get back on track. Like, it gives you control. I never had control before. I was lost. I was stuck and I was miserable, and it's amazing to be able to give that to somebody else and have them say, you know what, you're right. Like, it's manageable. Like, I can do this. Like, this is the easiest. I mean, I've struggled with my weight almost from my teens to in my 40s. And it's like, this gives you control. I mean, this is easier than running 9 miles a day. That's for sure. Much easier. Yeah. So.
Absolutely. And also too, I know we touched on this offline a little bit, but just your thyroid hormone levels, how did that change from before and after? I don't know if you did actual blood tests or.
Yes. I mean, things have changed dramatically, and I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be able to have this program in my life for the fact that it's changed the state of my health. I was not going in a very good direction. My gut was affected. I had so much inflammation in my body. I literally was losing my hair in clumps. I mean, we have amazing products in our office that synergistically work so well together that I won't not use them. Like they've become my food, like, and our supplements are food, and people need to, realize that we don't get a lot of what we need from the physical food that we eat. We need help, and I mean, Dr. Teferi is such a master at being able to, really talk to the body and listen to someone's body and figure out sometimes they need a little bit extra or they need something else. Like he has a very innate sense to be able to, help patients on that way. And I've seen it firsthand, and it's something that, not everybody can do that. And that is something that is, so remarkable, and in addition to our office compared to other offices, that's why I feel like we are, we are premier when it comes to, being able to, deliver the best results.
Wow.
So
Well, thank you so much for that, Tara. I appreciate that. But, it's something that, as you know, we strive continually to get to that next level. And I know we're running out of time. So I guess we're going to have to wrap this up. It's just basically like, the bottom line for you is what? What would you say to people, Tara?
Just do it. You have nothing to lose, but wait, and everything to gain. I mean, really, everybody needs this in their life because everybody needs help right now. We have all been, through the ringer in these last couple of months. And you can't tell me that everybody is not feeling the stress of what we all went through. Right. So just even from an emotional level, it can help you.
Yeah. It's funny. It kind of reminds me, the freshman 15 or something of that nature.
Now we have the
COVID. Now we have the COVID 20, or something plus. So, we're the kind of people, we kind of put our money where our mouth is. So why don't you tell people what we're willing to do right now to kind of help Matt this time of the year, especially because this is not only have we dealt with almost a year's worth of these challenges from, what's been going out in the world with COVID, but now we're going into the holiday season, and boy, what happens? There's a lot of stuff starting with Halloween all the way through New Year's, alcohol, food, tons of food, kind of gluttonous type of activity, maybe even more so. So what we're trying to do is just help people get better and to slow it down so they can actually become healthier. And that's another critical factor with your immunity, boost your immunity, get your body healthier, lose that weight that doesn't have to be, there on your body. So tell them what we're going to do, Tara.
We are going to be having our Black Friday sale, which we actually are going to be, promoting for the, starting November 1st. It's a great way to get a jump start on your health through the holidays. How nice would it be to have your New Year's resolution already achieved by January 1st? And if you choose to wait, you can, but these are the lowest prices of the year that we ever offer. And this is the best time. I mean, especially in this year 2020 to take advantage, do this for you, to help your improve your health. And really, it's the most cost-effective way to do it at this point in time, at the end of the year. And we try to help you guys out. Pricing that, we can offer it at this time of year and really just get through the holidays, in a much better place than you're going to be starting the holidays at.
Awesome. It's really great that people can take advantage of this program, via this promotion. Really good to know. We'll have all the information in the links. We'll have information on TeferiWellness.com. And of course,
Greg, one other thing I just want to say, people can do this program either in our office or virtually. So if, you're not coming out, some people are not comfortable coming out yet, and that's okay. We can do this virtually. We could do Zoom calls. We can, I can walk them through the program, in the comfort of their own home so that they feel comfortable about it. And
everything that they need, you can ship to them and they can get it.
So it's a contactless, program for them, and they'll still get the same result.
Well, thank you, Tara. We certainly appreciate having you tonight. And everyone can find all the information that Tara is describing at www.TeferiWellness.com.